All right, so it is the top of the hour, so let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to today's webcast, which is What's New in CA Performance Management 3.2 and CA Virtual Assurance 3.2. All lines have been automatically placed on mute. We will take questions at the end. You can ask them over the phone by hitting #6 to unmute your line and ask it via the phone line, or you can ask it in the Q&A window in the upper right-hand corner of the webcast. So today I have the CA Performance Management team with me, Jeremy Rosbach, Jason Normandin, and Matthew Storman. And at this time, I'm going to turn the call over to Jeremy, and he's going to take you through what's new.
Excellent. Thank you, Sue. And again, thanks everyone for joining us today, wherever you are in the world. Once again, happy to be here talking about the latest release in the CA, the Network Operations and Analytics Platform. Specifically, we're talking about CA Performance Management and CA Virtual Network Assurance versions 3.2. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Jason, who is going to take us through the first few release enhancements, and then hand it over to Matt to end the call today. But Jason, go ahead and take it away.
Appreciate that, Jeremy, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Again, thanks for your time. Excited to show you guys what we've been working on in regards to our CA Performance Management and CA Virtual Network Assurance 3.2 product releases. I'm going to be covering 4 primary feature areas this morning, and then we'll drill into more specifics and some demos as well. The first, we want to talk about some of our SD-WAN assurance enhancements. These are primarily focused around our SD-WAN Viptela support, which we introduced in 3.1 and have continued to refine in our 3.2 release. Some exciting updates there. Going to also then talk about our unified Tabie reporting and what we've been able to do there, and how we're now effectively able to show data from multiple data sources, UIM, Spectrum, SOI, performance management, all in a single dashboard, and able to interact with those dashboards and really just view data the way you guys want it. Continuing on that the way you want it theme, we've continued to refine our operational UI. CA Performance Center, and we've had a number of enhancements there, including some rather significant updates to our Open API in our Query Builder application that we think is going to really add some additional simplicity and some really strong analytic capabilities on top of it as well. And then we're going to finish up talking about our support for Red Hat version 7, which we're introducing in our 3.2 release as well. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in and talk about what we've done for SD-WAN assurance enhancements. So we've really taken a lot of time to focus on the workflows for SD-WAN. It's a new technology. It can be a complicated technology, and our customers are looking for help. They're looking for help in understanding how their WAN topology is deployed. They're looking for help in understanding the performance related to both the control plane and the data plane, looking at the software-defined aspects of it, understanding the routing that's occurring, and understanding the traffic that's going over the various WAN connections that you have within your environment, whether it be MPLS or broadband or what have you. We've really wanted to focus on some new visualizations and some new workflow improvements. We know there's some challenges with SD-WAN monitoring. Cloud-based applications, SaaS, hybrid cloud, private cloud storage, all of these things are becoming fairly ubiquitous, and it's putting more and more pressure on the WAN. It's putting more and more pressure on internet connectivity for internet services, and it's putting more pressure on your own infrastructure. MPLS reliance, it's getting expensive simply relying on MPLS, especially as a lot of these services have to traverse into the internet, whether you're looking at Azure or Amazon or any of the other type of online services. There's complexity, as I mentioned. The software-defined overlay adds additional complexity, right? So that just is common sense. So if the software is making decisions, you need to understand those decisions and the complexity that can arise to ensure that your environment is configured properly and that you're maximizing your WAN resources and ultimately delivering the quality of service to your users for your key business services. It introduces intelligence, and that intelligence needs to be validated. So not quite the same extent as Skynet, but it's making key decisions that's having a direct impact on your business. Understanding the intelligence, being able to validate that intelligence is critical. And when you're rolling out an SD-WAN infrastructure, it's not just a flip the switch and everything moves over. There's planning that's involved. You have to be able to understand the impact on bringing a new site online and understanding the impact in moving traffic off your MPLS and being able to plan that and model that so that you can more efficiently manage and take advantage of all of the WAN connectivity options that are out there today. So what do? We're going to automatically discover, it's really simple. You install our virtual network assurance component. You configure that as a gateway into performance management. And then it's as simple as providing the Tele credentials for the controller, and the rest we do automatically. So we're going to build out a site hierarchy using geolocation information that we get from Viptela. We're going to build out all of the infrastructure related to your VEdge devices, all of your tunnels related to IPsec transmissions, VPN connections between all of your WAN sites. We're going to pull in the SLA policy information, and we're going to pull in the SLA or the application classes as well. And what we're going to provide is the ability to look at that infrastructure in its entirety at very granular levels, as well as at higher hierarchical levels, so you can ensure overall WAN connectivity performance, as well as being able to focus in on the specifics that SD-WAN necessitates, and including being able to understand how your traffic is traversing the different links that it now can take advantage of. So not just looking at MPLS, but looking at broadband and how that traffic is performing and how those connections are performing. Again, we want to focus on being able to show the health of your WAN, looking at a geo map and being able to hover in and look at key information. We're very much focused these days, if you've noticed, on simplifying things through health information, health indicators, so that your operations team don't have to sit there and figure out if something is good or bad. We're gonna figure that out for them, and we're just gonna put it right up on the screen, make it easy to understand. It's all about actionable information and providing that information with as few clicks as possible. We've introduced some scorecard views and a new tunnel time bar, as well as application SLA path time bar that's going to let you look at specific information related to your tunnels and your application SLA classes within your WAN, understand the performance of the key user impacting metrics, latency, loss, and jitter, and understanding the overall health of those connections and the overall health of your WAN sites and your WAN services that you're offering. I mentioned we have a new time bar chart, and this is a great way to look at connectivity. So we have a geo map which provides site-to-site connectivity and will aggregate information up to show you basically the worst performing connections. And then from there, it's a simple click to view the specific connections between any given site. So being able to look at your connections across your WAN and understanding them related to health information, but not just, and it's just a single value. The trending information is critical, so we've been able to get the best of both worlds. We're taking the health information and the trend information, putting it together in a way that's easy to understand. Everything additionally is context aware, so you notice in this view here, we're talking about source destination, source device, destination device, source interface, destination face. Those are all context-aware links. So clicking on any of them is going to bring you to the data plane, rather than the control plane. So you're going to be able to actually, right from this view, click in and look at the detailed performance metrics that can be collected through SNMP. So you're getting far more granular metrics than what would be available simply through looking at overlay performance statistics. very easy to view the top and worst performers and drilling down, as I mentioned, into context-aware pages for your infrastructure at the physical layer. So being able to take those abstractions that are inherently applied based off of SD-WAN and the separation of the control and the data plane, and bringing those back together so it's easy for you and your operations and your capacity teams to understand how things are performing, the best and worst performing, and to quickly isolate, find, and resolve problems within your SD-WAN environment. So we've covered this in depth in several places, our SD-WAN support. We have a number of videos that will be available. So I'm not going to go into a demo this morning because it could easily chew up most of the time. There's quite a bit to this solution. So anyone that's interested in our Viptela SD-WAN support, I would encourage you to take a look at the video collateral that's already been produced, the end of sprint recordings if you're a member of the pre-release community, and then also the upcoming education videos, which my colleague Jeremy will touch on towards the end of this presentation. So the next area we're going to talk about is our support for Unified Tabie. What's Unified Tabie? So Tabie stands for CA Business Intelligence. And basically what this is we've taken one of the great vendors out there, Jasper reports, and we have wrapped around that some CA magic that's going to allow us to do some pretty neat things. We're able to take a single CA Business Intelligence server and leverage it across multiple products within the CA Agile Operations portfolio. This includes UIM, SOI, performance management, and Spectrum, with others to join the party as well. So what we're trying to do is we're providing a reporting solution as well as a dashboarding solution that's going to unify all of your products across that portfolio at the reporting level, and again, also at the dashboard level. And this is designed to provide easy access to all of those multi-domain metrics and provide the ability to interact with multiple data domains at the same time. We are leveraging their dashboard capabilities. They have a number of drag and drop dashlets that can be leveraged, and we're going to continue to build more and provide more, and the ability to easily customize those. And then where this solution really shines is on the scheduling and output format capabilities. So there is a very robust reporting mechanism, as I mentioned, in Jasper, and that's really one of the key aspects of this solution for us. So being able to go in and schedule reports with a lot of different types of data formats with very flexible reporting and scheduling options really allows you to get data to your data consumers quickly and easily, and again, all from a single domain and a single source. We've provided some additional content specifically related to CA performance management in our Unified Tabie. So we provide an executive dashboard understanding product usage, focusing more on monitored devices, interfaces, and again, these are things we're going to continue to iterate on. And then we have a top-end report, which has been a focus of a significant amount of development, being as though that's one of the top types of views that we know our customers are consuming, and customers that are on some of our legacy products who are missing some capabilities. So we've really enhanced that report to provide very high scale, very flexible ability to generate large volumes of data very quickly. Some screenshots here showing the executive report for performance management, and also looking at a screenshot here for a dashboard looking at data from multiple data sources. I'm going to get into that right now in the demo. Let me share out my browser. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is our Unified Tabie dashboard, and this is looking at, as I mentioned, data across multiple data sources. You can see you have a business services view here, SOI. We have open alarm views coming from UIM. We have Spectrum views related to least available devices. We have performance management views based off of device and ports and asset information. These are all able to be defined through drag and drop. You know, some of these are small and you may say, I can't read those. one of the nice parts that Jasper does is very simply you can maximize and minimize views to kind of get a full screen view of any particular view that you're interested in. Additionally, as you'll notice, there are several options that have detailed reports. So if I drill into this least available devices top-end view, it's going to go and it's going to run a supplemental spectrum report that's going to generate more detail related to this dashboard view. So really focusing on the capabilities to view a higher level dashboard view and then drill in, as I mentioned, to that detailed reporting data that's going to be generated by multiple data sources, multiple data domains. You have the ability to export that very easily. As I mentioned, there's a lot of options here, PDFs. You can get this directly in Excel. You can put these directly in PowerPoint, which is really nice. As I know, that's obviously one of the primary data dissemination mechanisms today. So it's very easy to do that. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of scheduling options available as well. So again, these views are all interactive. The nice part is you can easily do things like change the chart type. So right now we have a donut. I could change this to a tree map, and then the visualization type's going to change. All interactive. You get the hover over capabilities, again, the zoom capabilities to understand exactly what's going on. And then, for example, if I click into one of these particular groups, I'm going to focus and I'm going to pull up another dashboard related to UIM, related to the group demo. So getting the business services view. Oh, this is the same one. Hold on. Again, interactivity, right? Getting that data to you in the ways that you need to view it, and easily getting to information that's going to supplement those dashboards. Additionally, when we look at the performance management dashboard, executive dashboard, we're focusing on inventory. We have a number of devices per site. This is just going to provide statistics as to how your environment is being pulled and your asset distribution at a site level. And then we have our top-end report, again, highly scalable. We're showing 250 pages here. So looking at many thousands of devices and looking at interface availability. You can very easily at the dashboard level, just like you can within performance management, go ahead and change any view type to be able to apply and to change the scope of any particular view. Similar to what you would see in the Performance Center, where you have that type of capability as well. But again, bringing that together, unifying that in, not behaving very well, in a single dashboard is really our goal and what we're focusing on, and being able to then drive that context through different specifics such as sites, or really being able to control the aspects of the data that you're viewing. Again, looking at a top-level dashboard driver that's going to change selected views that are basically defined to ingest that information. All right, let's get back.
Hey, Jace, while you're switching back, we just had a quick question about that section, and maybe you already answered it. Are top-end reports only available via Tabie Jasper reports?
No. So we have a number of top-end reports in CA Performance Center. I know that in UIM as well. The difference between Jasper is we have some expanded capabilities there, including the ability to filter up to 5 different metrics, so you can really refine the scope of that top end, and we don't have any limitations on the number of items. So if you're in a situation where your business practices require you to report on 50,000 interfaces each month and stow that away for archival or for other reasons, you can do that. In CAPC, we have a limit of either, depending on the type of view, either 1,000 or 5,000 items. CAPC is very much focused on the dashboard use case, so more focused on operational. Usually your operations team is not going to need to dig into more than a thousand things in a list, but for those reporting use cases where it's important to be able to stash that data away, that's where our Tabie solution is going to come in. Additionally, if you have performance management, you have entitlements to our Tabie solution, Jasper. There's no additional costing involved. You're able to get that component as part of the overall solution, so a very nice value add. Continuing to focus on some of the operational UI enhancements. So this is stepping back into our CA Performance Center, which is our network operations or our NetOps portal. This is where we're unifying data from performance management, from Spectrum, ADA, NFA, UCM, and others. So we're going to look at what we've done here in CA Performance Center, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done in the Open API as well. So we've added some new view types in CA Performance Center. We have a new custom view chart table view that's going to provide a lot of flexibility, including some revamped visualization styles and a couple of new visualization styles as well that I'll demonstrate. And then we've updated our health cards, and this is a very nice ability to demonstrate how easy it is to interact with our data and how easy it is for operations to be able to identify problems and drill in and understand what those causes could be and ultimately resolve those problems as quickly as possible. And then I'm going to talk about Open API, and we're going to talk about the business hours filtering we've added, how we've simplified our query mechanism from a time frame perspective while adding business hours, something that's not easy to do when you add new things and can simplify at the same time. That's always a benefit. And our ability to do aggregation on the group level directly in Query Builder, which is a really nice feature. Additionally, the ability to do multiple aggregations in Query Builder, which were previously supported only through the API directly, but we've augmented Query Builder to catch up a bit with what the API can actually do from a capability perspective. After that demo, I'm going to hand off to my colleague, Matt Storman, to talk about our CA Mediation Manager and how we're improving reconciliation so that as you pull data from multiple protocols for any given single item, so if you're doing non-SNP and SNP, how we're going to start to be able to merge those items into a single thing so you can look at data not only for one domain, but all of the data collection domains that any given device on the system may be leveraging. A very powerful new feature that we've added that we're excited about. So you can see here a couple of screenshots showing the new custom chart table views, and I'll demonstrate how those work. And then again, our updated card views, and I'll drill in and show you guys how those work. And then as I mentioned, in Query Builder, we've added a lot of capabilities. We're really excited about this. Some really nice work around business hours that adds a lot of flexibility, some that I have not seen in any competitor product. As far as capabilities that we have now. So some really exciting work being done there. So let's head back to the demo. All righty. All right. So first we're going to look at is some of those new chart types that I mentioned. So what you see here is I just have a real simple dashboard looking at self-monitoring. So we're looking at basically all of my CA Performance Management deployed infrastructure and monitoring it for key information, CPU, memory, disk information, partition information, all of those things to understand just the overall health and the consumption of resources by performance management itself. If you're catching this and you're familiar with the product, you'll notice that we've revamped our gauge views to provide a much cleaner look. We've removed a lot of the extra coloring that was here. Feedback we had was that was just a bit on the bright side. And then we've added this expanded pie mode as well, which allows you to understand, again, and more easily recognize any particular item's impact to the overall performance indicators that you're looking at. I'm going to bring up the settings here and I'm going to show you something real nice. So this is a new view type we've added, and this is We want to call it a donut chart. A lot of people want to call it a donut chart, but our UX designer has been very adamant that it's not, in fact, a donut chart. It's a radial bar chart. So this represents basically a single metric and its value related to an overall maximum value. Right now, these views are tied to percentage type views, so volume views, et cetera, are not currently available, but that's something that we are working on in the future. Being able to change the type is super simple. So you can see here, I can go in and choose a gauge, trend, radial bar, or pie for any of these views. Again, we've consolidated what were previously 3 views down to 1, and we've augmented that with an additional view. What this is going to allow us to do is over time, we're going to be able to begin to remove views from the system, deprecate views, and consolidate so that it's a simpler step for your end users to look at the data the way that they want to look at the data without having to understand, how to create dashboards and all those things. Very, very intuitive, simple drop-down mechanisms to do that. Before I leave this page, I wanted to point out one thing as well that had been a request for quite some time. We've also added the ability to do mouse overs. So now when you're looking at any of our, basically we call them XY charts, which are any of the line charts, stacked area charts, you're going to be able to just get key information related to that at that point. So you hover over, you're going to get the item name, you're going to get this precise timestamp, and then you're going to get the specific value for that particular item. So when you're looking at areas here where it's hard to see, it'd be really hard to understand, well, how many seconds is this? Hovering over, you can get the 1.2, the 0.7, 0.7. It's really nice to be able to drill in and get that specific information, and on the stack bar to be able to not have to have as much what one of our customers so eloquently put as brain fatigue when you're trying to match up data points to the axes. That's processing that your brain has to do, and that's less processing that it can do to actually solve problems. So we want to remove as much of that extra processing from your brains as possible. Again, so just a really nice feature that we've been able to add. Now I'm going to show you our new card views. So let's create, I don't do this very often, but let's just create one from scratch. Let's just do a new dashboard. I'll show you guys how these card view works. They're pretty cool. So we'll just call it card view. And I'm going to go down to the custom views, and I am going to do card view top. Most of our views say top because we're looking at a set number of things in the environment. That's really all that means. So what we have now is the ability to select any metric family. So let's look at CPU, and let's just look at CPU utilization average. Let's look at CPU utilization max, and let's look at CPU utilization 95th percentile. So we can define here our minor, major, and critical thresholds, and we can do that on a per metric basis. So let's say for average utilization, we're going to have a higher threshold, a higher level of tolerance than we would for our maximum. So say for maximum, we want to know anytime that hits 99%, 90%, and maybe 5. And then for the 95th percentile, which is going to be higher than average, we'll tweak those as well. Again, whatever the metrics and the thresholds are, whatever you choose. And then you can look at things by component or by device. Since we're looking at CPU, it makes sense to look at it at a metric calculate level of by device. So we'll save this. Now what this view is going to do, as this page loads, is for whatever group that I've defined in my context picker, I'm going to get this card view. And you say, oh, that's interesting. If you hover over, you're going to get your breakdowns of your performance. There's one card per metric. You can select, obviously, multiple metrics, and we'll keep building out this card view. And then hovering over it again will provide what those thresholds are for that specific metric to be able to easily understand. And what you've noticed as well is we're going to mute out with using various opacity to hide things that are important. So if you have 0 things, we don't want you to need to look at 0 things or understand that. We want you to be able to just focus again on what matters. So we're all good here. We can see we have 2 normal 3. 3 critical, 3 normal, 1 minor, 1 critical. Now what you can do here, and what we've added is capability, these are all now interactive. So if I select this one, we're going to go and we're going to pull that information back and show you which one of those items was having the problem. If you want to see the critical, again, it's just a click. If you want to see all, you just select the metric and we're going to then list out. And that's going to give you very easy ability to jump off and look at more specific items. We can increase the scale of this, the scoping of this, by changing the group on the dashboard. And these views, while this comes up, are designed to basically go with our scorecards. It's not a direct tie-in, but we're going to be looking to merge these types of views more and more together so there's more interactivity. So as you interact with data, we're going to be using that information to refine the data set that you're looking at altogether. So we can see here there's, now we're looking at 83 devices, and again, utilization maximum, average, 95th percentile. If I want to look at all of them, I can just select that and we'll bring back the list. Again, we're going to provide the value, we're going to sort that however you'd like, and then we're going to provide you the ability, as we do everywhere in the product, to drill in for more details. So that context page system, which I think is one of the more powerful aspects of our application, and being able to drill in from any view and get more detailed information specific, looking at CPU utilization, looking at heat map information, understanding how that correlates to baseline. And again, using the hover overs is really nice now, as you're able to very easily investigate the data that's being returned to understand what's going on. Same things with the heat charts as well, being able to understand those values. So we've really been focusing on user experience. As I mentioned, we're really trying to provide some additional flexibility, some additional capabilities, reducing what we call brain fatigue, and just providing a simpler means to gain access to your metrics. And while I'm here, I'll show you, and I'm always one to position our Open API as a great value add to our product. So if you're looking in here for any device, you can install one of our GitHub apps that will bring back all the metric information for that device. So one of the biggest things we've heard over time is, hey, I don't know what metrics are supported when I'm looking at a device. Well, this app is going to now provide that for you. So you have your metric family, your descriptions, and then the vendor certs. If I select that metric family, what it's going to do is it's going to go and it's going to pull for that specific device. It's going to get me all of the metrics in the metric family, and then it's going to give me the vendor cert expressions. So this is another one that customers have asked for. It's like you're creating a variable. I don't know how that variable maps to my MIB attributes. Well, now it's very easy to find that out. So you're able to look at any specific MIB object that's being leveraged in the metric families and vendor certs. And then we're going to tie that from not only to the object name, but we're going to give you the object ID as well. And if this was a vendor cert that had any of variable information, we'd expose that as well. A quick shout out to my colleague Lutz over in EMEA for augmenting this view with some additional capabilities. The nice part about this, and I just want to call this out real quick, is this is pulling information from multiple APIs. So this is pulling information from the Open API, and then this is making subsequent DA REST web service calls. That's the power of our API and our app platform. You can mix and match data from all sorts of sources and render it in context, for a specific device or component or time frame within C8 Performance Center alongside all your other views. So there's no segmentation, there's no differentiation. It's all context. It's your data your way, has been our saying, and the proof's in the pudding, and that we're really kind of focusing and continuing to evolve those use cases and workflows. Let's see, before I jump into Query Builder, I'm going to go back and see if you have any other questions. Nope, we look good. Okay. So this next demo I'm going to look at, as I mentioned, what we've done in Open API, specifically around Query Builder, although a lot of the capabilities around business hours, et cetera, are available. Obviously, directly calling the Open API is everything we demonstrate in Query Builder is. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the ability to do group aggregations in Query Builder, and how that's really easy to do now. So what we can do is we can basically start at a group level and just say, I want all groups. I want to see the name and give me the count of items in that group. I want to filter that to groups that have a name. Let's say we'll do America. I think I only have one group, but let's just one group named North America. Let's just double check that. So what we see here is we have our group North America and it has 15 items in that group. That's a handy query to use right out of the gate. But let's look at something different. So we're looking at name. One of the things that one of the powerful things that we've added that we don't call out enough is the ability to look at all the data, not just in CAPC hierarchically, but in OpenAPI hierarchically as well. We're really focusing on that in our system as a core strength and a real advantage for us over competition, to be honest with you. The way that we automatically define and let you build out hierarchical group trees, and then the ability to aggregate and view all of the data automatically using those hierarchies is really powerful. So we can do with something like group path location. This is going to tell us where it is in the group tree. So if I want to look at any groups that contain North America in or part of the North America chain, group hierarchy, I can just do group path location contains North America. And when I run this, what I'm going to see is still North America. Let me look at my groups. I think I have a group called Geo World or something. Let me get the name of that. It'll be worth it. It's good information. Yeah, Geo World. So let's change that. Super easy to change. It's not going to be case sensitive, so we'll remove that. And now we're going to see all of the, did I spell it? Nope, I spelled it wrong. So it's a great example of how easy it is to go in and change things that you've already defined in the query. So here we go. Now we have GeoWorld, North America, Europe, and APG. So we're going to get any group within that is going to appear, and you'll see I have those three groups. I don't have more details than that. It's just that one level hierarchy. But if I had 5 levels deep, what you'd see in Query Builder is would list all of those groups that met that portion of the group tree. You can see GeoWorld is an aggregation or a hierarchical aggregation of the APG Europe and North America. So if you add up 15, 17, and 16, my brain tells me that equals 48. So you can see how that aggregation is already working. Interesting, but what's important here? What's important is this piece right here. We've added the ability to group and aggregate. So we're going to group by, the first thing we do is choose a metric family. So say we want to just look at CPU utilization across the entirety of those groups, and we want to look at just maybe average CPU utilization. So I bring up grouping by that CPU metric family, and then I'm going to just do the average of utilization. And what this is going to do now is this is going to go and simply calculate for each of those groups the specific values for those aggregations. So you're going to get those values. So this is going to be based off of all of those items within those groups, and you're going to get the average CPU utilization for all of your devices in those groups. What if you want to look at the device aggregation at group level instead of at the device level? We can do that as well. So if we switch over, we start with the CPU information, and then we can then this capability, group by groups, that's the new part. So we add the ability to aggregate by groups when you start at the group, and we also add the ability to do aggregation at group levels when you start with a metric. Again, we want to filter, and we want to limit our groups, group path location, and you can see how you can get to everything in the system through all of its relationships, which is one of the nice parts of how this whole system works. You don't need to have a great understanding of the architecture. You just need to understand how to view the information that you're looking to do. So again, I'll add name and member count information to this view. And maybe we want to also sort this by the value, the aggregation value descending. So we'll get from top to bottom, the aggregation for the groups. GeoWorld, we see the member count information, and where is the metric data? Oh, I don't think I have any time specified, which leads me very nicely to my next thing, that our time range UI has been completely revamped. And this is the real important part that I want to demonstrate. Previously, you had to use very specific start time and end time values unless you wanted to simply default to what you had configured in your parameters. But now we're going to allow you to do relative values, or absolute values are still supported. Certainly, we want to maintain backwards compatibility at all times, but now it's going to be a lot easier for you to define queries. So let's clear this. Let's clear this thing out right here. So let's just do something simpler. So let's look at interfaces within groups. So we'll look at interfaces that are in my North America group. So again, real simple. Here's a list of all my interfaces and all of the configuration information. If I want to just limit this to maybe name and speed, I can certainly do that. And now again, focusing on just the interfaces, the name and the speed in that particular group. Now I want to look at, and I want to aggregate information and just say we're going to look at the average. Let's look at the average bits for the time frame. So you can see here we have our values. This represents for the configured time frame, which is default, for each interface, what is the average bits. Now, I bring up my time range selector, and this is where it gets interesting. So now we have a new time interval selector. So if you look at time period from now, we can look at based on end time, we can look at based on start time, or we can look at custom time range. What this gives us the ability to say is, from now, let me look at the last 1 hour, or the last 4 hours, or the last 8 hours, or the last 24 hours. Let me choose the time zone. I can look at my server time zone, or I can reorient that data to show in any time zone that I'm interested in viewing that data. And as always, let me choose my data granularity as bold hourly. If I went beyond 24 hours, daily would be an option as well. And if I run this again, what we're going to see now is these are the values for basically the last 24 hours from now. And if you look in the query, you're going to see something very, some significant simplifications, and that's our period. So period equals 1 day. That's going to allow you to very simply specify the duration from now when you want to run that query. You could look at you could look at based on an end time. So the last 24 hours beginning on July 23rd. Or you can look at based on start time, the last 24 hours based off of 21st. And you're going to see how you can control the data that's being returned. The next important part we've added is business hours. And this is a real key capability for us. It's enabling us to get business hours in other areas of our portfolio, including in 3.5, CA Business Intelligence, our Tabie solution. But being able to generate business hour-based analytics, looking at aggregations, projections based off of business hour is key. So if I want to limit my business hours, I can choose basically to look at business hours at a specific start time and end time. We support granularity down to 15 minutes. If I were to choose hourly data here, we're going to change that granularity. The most we'll support is at the hour level, you can see. But when you're doing as-full, we're going to support business hours at a much finer granularity than what CA Performance Center provides. And then we can do 17. So we're looking at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then you'll notice there's a second row here. That gives us the ability to actually have business hours that span multiple time frames during the single day. So maybe I have also then 7 p.m. to, keep it simple, 7 to 8 p.m. as well. So there's an additional hour that I want to include. So we're going to, this query is going to go and it's going to get, it's going to look at, last 24 hours, not a good example, but last 14 days of data using business hours Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 and 7 to 8. So if I run this, we're going to see, and it's going to go and send that information down to Vertica. It's going to analyze those time ranges, and it's going to provide that information back any second now. There's a lot more processing involved, not only because I expanded the time range, but for the business hours as well. So now we're looking at data that's specific to a given time range. If I want to go and look at that information in a non-aggregate way, and I look at just metrics, what I can do is I can add something like bits. Let's say bits per second. And I select that time range again. So we'll do last 14 days from now, and we'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And let's do a minor change here. Let's look at, say I have a second shift that works from, let's say, 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. the following day. We support this now within our Open API, so we can span what's basically called the midnight boundary, which is something we haven't been able to do before. And this is going to give you a lot more flexibility to be able to get data for specific time ranges based off of what your business hours needs are. So if we look here, we're looking at, we see our time ranges. We have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you can see it crosses the midnight boundary. This is something we've have customers requesting for quite some time. The best way to deliver it, we've decided, was through Open API. And this allows us to be able to provide the data to a lot more resources than only CAPC. But this capability really adds a lot of power. Additionally, you can do all of our capacity projection metrics using business hours as well. So if you want to, for example, look at, say you're a television service provider, and from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., you know that's prime time traffic, and you need to make sure that you are accurately provisioned in your interfaces or your links to handle that higher throughput traffic for that specific time frame. You can do that now as well. So you can specify multiple aggregation mechanisms. We're running short on time, so I'm not going to have time to show that. But you can basically say, for these 3 hours per day, I want to know when I'm going to exceed 95% utilization, or tell me the date on which I'm going to hit 95% utilization. Things like that you're able to easily do with Query Builder using all of the aggregation types by component, device, or group. And again, being able to leverage those very powerful business hour features that we've added. And as mentioned, we've really simplified this again. So period, 2 weeks, business hours, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. That's it. That is really simplifying the syntax that we've been using previously. Again, this query can then be used, taken, and run in any REST client. You can go, and if you want to change the format options, you can do that as well to add different format types. So if I want to look at this data in maybe CSV format, very easy to do. And this is a nice way to generate a quick Excel set of Excel data that's easily copied and then pasted into Excel. And again, really keeping the information to exactly what you're looking to get. So really being able to take that data and make it very, very portable. Question from Bob: is scientific notation the only option for displaying the numerics in the Open API table results? Right now, yeah. So we are looking at doing more work in the Open API to provide automatic units and scaling. So this is going to provide you the ability to say, I want this metric and I want it to be scaled. So if I'm looking at bits per second, we'll scale that automatically to gigabits or terabits, whatever it is. We're going to provide unit information, everything that you would need to take that data into a third-party reporting system and display it without really any other additional processing or understanding of those metrics. So we're going to add that. It's something we're working on. We don't have it currently now. The way that data comes back from the Open API is not in scientific notation, so it's very easy to process in third-party clients, et cetera. But through that table view, we're really focused on it's the library using automatically is converting those numbers. But like I mentioned, we want to provide better scaling, so that's something that we are looking to resolve. Question on what is the date for CAPM 3.2 GA. That's the best answer I can give on that one is imminent. I don't have a specific date. We finished and we got our official QA sign-off yesterday. So now we're going through all of the back office systems to get this software out the door and make it available for download, get all the entitlements, all of the notifications in line. So we're going to look to do this as quickly as we can. I don't have a specific date because I can't predict how long exactly it'll take, but we're close. Okay. At this point now, I want to hand over to my colleague Matt Storman to bring us home with a couple of great additional value adds we've included in our 3.2 release.
All right, thank you, Jason. So our final operational UI enhancement is the reconciliation of devices monitored via both SNMP and CAM. So just to give you a little background, we've had a long-standing issue with the product where devices that are monitored via both SNMP and CAM would be represented as two separate device models within the system. And this was obviously problematic. You know, from an operator perspective, it caused confusion about whether, you're looking at the right device model to get the information that you need. And then from an administrative perspective, there was just more overhead as far as maintaining grouping and applying threshold profiles. So we finally addressed this in CAPM 3.2. Devices that are monitored via both SNMP and CAM will now be represented with a single device model. However, there are a couple of requirements that I want to make you aware of. The first is that you must have a reconciliation-capable CAM device pack. So going forward, as we develop and update CAM device packs, we'll consider whether it makes sense to possibly also pull that entity via SNMP. And if so, we'll build in the hooks to support reconciliation into that device pack. And then the second requirement is that the SNMP and CAM polling must be done from the same IP domain. And this is primarily because oftentimes we do this device level reconciliation based on IP address information. And by definition, all the IP addresses within an IP domain are unique. So just looking at this screenshot here, we have an example here. This 25143 device is being polled by both SNMP and CAM. It's represented by a single device model. And then if you go over and look at the polled metric families, you can see that we have both SNMP and CAM metric families supported on this one device. So if I wanted to, I could go create a custom dashboard that displayed both SNMP and CAM information simultaneously. So I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to keep moving. All right, last but definitely not least, we're finally adding support to install and run CAPM on Red Hat 7. This has been a very highly requested feature from the customer base, as many customers have IT departments that have standards for, or corporate standards for the OSs that they can run. And we definitely had customers who have communicated that their corporate standard for Red Hat is Red Hat 7, and they would have to go back and get exceptions to run on Red Hat 6. Starting with CAPM 3.2, our initial version of Red Hat 7 that we'll support will be 7.3. We are not going to support Red Hat 7.0 through 7.2, and that is primarily because of Vertica compatibility issues. We are also deprecating some OS support in this release. We'll no longer support Red Hat 5. I believe Red Hat 5 was end-of-lifed by the vendor this past March. And in addition, we're no longer going to support Red Hat 6.0 through Red Hat 6.5, again, because of Vertica compatibilities. Okay, going back to look for questions. It says, does this include CentOS 7.x? And to answer that, I just want to say that we only certify CAPM on Red Hat. However, we do have a Linux variant policy where we will try to work with customers running on other OS variants. So the simple answer is we haven't tested it, but we will try to work with you to get CAPM running on those other variants. Okay, I think that's all the questions. So at this point, I want to see if there are any questions on the phone before we wrap up. So if you're on the phone and you want to answer a question, please press #6 to come off mute. Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting any final questions, so I'm going to turn things back to Jeremy to wrap things up.
Thank you, guys. Matt and Jason, always great content, great delivery. You guys are both pretty passionate always about the stuff we're doing for our customers. So, guys, again, once we're GA, and that'll be soon, that's all we can say legally, but trust me, it'll be soon. We'll post the GA letters in the communities. We'll also let you guys know of the product videos that go along with this release, so you can get a deeper dive in video format on a lot of the release enhancements for 3.2. So once again, thanks to everyone that joined us today. Sue, do you want to take us in with the last few words?
Sure. Sure. To echo what Jeremy is saying, thank you everyone for taking the time to join today. If you have any of your colleagues that have missed this session, we will be posting the recording on the communities. So look for it there within either today or tomorrow. And with that, thank you for your time and have a great day. This concludes our conference call today.